Hi everybody, Phil Mowat from Ashton's Franchise Consulting here, and today I'm with Jenna from Little Dreams Consulting. Hi Jenna.
Good morning, Phil. How are you?
Yeah, brilliant, thanks. So we're going to talk about your business and how you franchised it and how you used Ashton's. So do you want to tell us a little bit about what you do? We can see on the banner, but tell us a little bit about what you do.
Yeah, basically we help families get more sleep. So we are baby and child sleep consultants. We work with children from the age of 4 months old all the way up to the age of 10 years old, using as gentle as we can a behavioural approach to work with the families. And also we work with the older children when they get to an age where they can understand what's going on and support the families whilst they're working with us.
Okay, and how did the business start? How did you get into this?
Well, I was a solicitor for 12 years and I have 3 children now, but I'd had my second child and went back to work and thought, oh, I don't love this anymore. What am I going to do with my life? Long story short, I kept seeing an advertisement for an American company who were coming to England for the first time to train people in how to help little ones to sleep. And I kept seeing it, and I thought, oh, you know, I'm not really into the universe trying to tell me something, but I kind of feel like it is. So I mentioned it to my husband. He said, that's your perfect job. You have to go ahead for it. So I trained with them. I was pregnant with my third child at the same time. Worked as a sleep consultant and a solicitor for a little while, and then didn't go back after mat leave because I loved it so much that yeah, I wanted to continue.
Fabulous. And the big question, did you have challenges with your own children then? Is that what sparked an interest? Or
I think because I was so clear that sleep was so important that I didn't have problems with my own children just because I'd always felt so passionate that it was really important. So I haven't kind of got one of those stories where, you know, the children have, you know, slept after I've helped, you know, after I've worked with them with my own children, but because I've always felt, because sleep is so important, it's basically the foundation of everything, that when I had my own children, I was really quite clear with them in their routines and how they fell asleep and all of those sorts of things. So for me, it was just a natural step because it was something that I'd always felt passionate about.
Okay, I'd imagine there's a lot of work that you do with the parents as well, because I remember when I've got 2 kids, 13-year-old and an 8-year-old, and the 13-year-old boy, we rocked him to sleep and we had all these different techniques, but actually a lot of the time it was about us just going, closing the door and getting out of there. And we did that with the second, and she has no issues with her sleep. So how much of it is working with, say, the parents versus the child?
So it's probably a bit of both. Obviously the little ones aren't born knowing how to sleep, so we've kind of got to guide them towards it. You know, there's no problem with doing it, but we don't kind of, you know, close the door and walk away and leave them to it. So we do work a lot with the families as well, because parents have kind of got themselves into this situation, not necessarily through choice, but just through desperation. And of course, when you're exhausted, you often can't see the wood for the trees, and you kind of know what you've got to do, but you're not really sure how to go about doing it. With older children, it does come, you know, certainly toddlers, it does come more down to the parents, because, you know, little ones who have very strong views about what should happen. Sometimes the parents just think, oh, you know what, I'll just go path of least resistance. But it's definitely a bit of both. But we support the parents. A lot of what we do is supporting the parents, but also analysing their child's sleep to work out what's best for their child.
Okay, brilliant. And how long are you generally working with a client?
Generally, we've got 2 packages. So generally, little ones in a cot are 2 weeks, little ones in a bed are 3 weeks. But sometimes, you know, the little ones get poorly, or there's a nap transition, or things like that make it go for longer. And we obviously continue working with the families for that period of time, but generally 2 to 3 weeks.
Okay. And what gave you the idea of franchising out? Why did you look at franchising as a growth model?
It was actually someone already in franchising who was a franchise manager for a number of big franchise companies, who was a family friend who had mentioned it when I was just starting to grow. So my colleague Faye came on board when I'd been going for just a year, because we found the demand was such that I needed someone else to come on board. And she'd mentioned it to me, and I was like, oh, no, thanks very much. But that, you know, that's not really where we're thinking of going with this. I didn't really plan to grow the business at all. And then after a time, when we realized there's such demand, but also that, you know, different areas of the country have very different cultures, and we're not experts in all of those areas of cultures. And we realized that actually the way to grow and allow people to run their own company and make use of the culture that they have in their certain area. That's kind of what got us into it in the very first place, was just someone mentioning it to us a few years ago now.
Fabulous. And are you going to clients' houses, or do you do some on Zoom, or what's the mix?
So before lockdown, we pretty much went to everyone's house, especially if they were local. You know, if they were local in Bristol or Wales, we would go to their houses. Or because of COVID, we took everything online. And now we kind of do a mix, mostly over Zoom. But I have started to do in-house consults more recently, certainly with older children. I've worked with a 4-year-old and an 8-year-old recently. So it's really nice to meet the children face to face. And next week, I'm going to see my first in-house baby, which I'm very excited about because I've missed all my baby cuddles.
Very good. And so talking about franchising, when you went, okay, we are going to franchise, what background work did you do? How did you find out about the industry, how it works? What was the process?
We actually did the course on the BFA website for potential franchisors, just to see whether it was going to be for us before we started down the route of it. So we both, Faye and I both did it. And then actually the lady who recommended the whole idea of franchising to us is the one who recommended then working with Ashton's. Being a solicitor, my colleagues, a mental health social worker, we're all about, we need to do it properly. We don't want to do, a half-baked franchise. We need to make sure everything's done properly. We want to speak to the professionals. So that's why, we then got in touch with Ashton's and decided that we needed to get expert advice from Richard.
Yeah, great. So yeah, really taking on advice from the BFA to consultants. Did you use Ashton's Legal as well for the?
Yeah, we did. And that's kind of one of the main reasons that we wanted to go with Ashton's. We had the recommendation, but it also meant that it was a very joined up process. Yep. So we, we had our advisor from Ashton's, but then Ashton's Legal, our solicitor John, was then, they were both able to discuss things between them, which also meant that things didn't get lost in translation.
Yeah, okay. And a bit of a big-headed question, but what did you like about working with Ashton's?
Richard is like probably the biggest benefit for us. Like I said, working with Ashton's and Ashton's Legal working together was really beneficial. But working with Richard was fantastic. He's just so knowledgeable. Really, I feel like we had a great relationship. We got on really well, and nothing was ever too much trouble for him. We were, able to ask him little questions. Nothing for him, I don't know what he said behind our back, but to our faces. He never, nothing was ever a silly question. He was just so patient, and those two things are probably the best things that we found about Ashton's.
Excellent, gold star for Richard. Then well done, Richard.
Absolutely, yeah, he needs a raise.
And you've been franchising since what, December 21?
Yep, so we launched in December 21. At the end of December 21.
Cool. And so you're a new franchisor. Have you got franchisees on board?
We do, yeah. We have 2 signed up already. We didn't want to work with loads and loads of people to begin with. We want to make sure that we're doing this right. So we have a couple of founder franchisees, and now we're just in the stage of starting to look for our next, 2 or 3 franchisees to come on board and start their training with us.
Okay, and so you didn't initially go out there on all of the franchise directories and make a big noise about yourself. You more went contacts. How did you find those 2 franchisees?
So they were from either working with us in the past, so previous clients of ours through our newsletter or social media, essentially. That's kind of how we've found our franchisees, and we've had huge amounts of interest from people. Obviously, now the territories in the southwest have gone, Bristol and our Bath and Swindon and Devon Cornwall territories. It's becoming the people that we've been in touch with, because we're based in this area, people who are interested, the territories are already gone. So we haven't really, we didn't kind of go wild. We've recently just started using the Children's Franchise Network, I think they're called, or Children's Franchise Enterprise, very, very recently. But we haven't done anything else. So
well, it's organic growth that you're looking for, isn't it? Yeah. So who's your ideal franchisee? If you could paint a picture of them, what do they look like?
They're probably going to be parents. Obviously a lot of the people that we've had interest for tend to be mummies who are high flyers in their careers, but then they've had children and realized, actually, this isn't going to work around my family and I want to be around for my family. So most likely mummies. there are sleep consultants who are daddies, so we're very open to daddies as well, but most likely to be mummies who are looking, are pretty high flyers in their career and looking for a career change where they want to make a success of their business, but they also need to be mindful that they want to work it around their family.
Okay, so is it a part-time franchise, or it can be a full-time franchise and a part-time franchise?
Our ideal would be a full-time franchise.
Yeah.
Obviously, we appreciate if you've got small children, you can't work 9 till 6, 5 days a week, but it's a very flexible franchise. We're looking for people that can work 4 days at least. Obviously, absolutely can be a full-time franchise, and obviously you can then grow your franchise as well, but it's not a hobby franchise.
Okay, so let's talk about recruiting franchisees. You mentioned about bringing on people that were ex-clients or that you knew of in the first place. Often that's the best place to start.
Yeah.
What do you think about the future? How are you going to expand out your advertising for franchisees? Where are you going to advertise? What are you going to do?
We're in talks at the moment with a PR company to kind of launch a PR campaign for both the brand, but also our franchise. They're a specialist franchise PR company. So we're looking to kind of work with them over the next 6 months to a year to, build the brand, but also build knowledge of the franchise and get more franchisees on board. Yeah,
okay. And have you got competitors? Are there any other big companies doing this, or is it individuals that are doing what you do?
As far as I'm aware, and I think, as far as Richard's aware as well, we're the only sleep consultant franchise. I think there are a couple who have licenses, and that obviously, there are a number of sleep consultants out there, but I believe that we are the first sleep consultant franchise.
Excellent. And if I want to become a franchisee and I pay you your franchise fee, what do I get in return?
Okay, so everything that you are going to need to make your business a success. So you would go on the sleep charity training, sleep charity UK training. You would then have 3 days training with us, where we talk a little bit more about sleep. We give you all the information, about naps, questionnaires, how the process works, how to analyze children's sleep, but we also talk to you about marketing, how to market your company, how to make it a success. And then anything that we are not experts in, we then bring the experts in. So we have SEO experts, we have training, a GDPR expert, a solicitor, we have a social media expert, we have a lactation consultant, because obviously, feeding and sleep is very important and they're very interlinked for babies. So we will basically give you, all the training that you need. We also provide the means to have your own mini web page, so that's included in the price. Everything that you will need to start your business, like here's a business with a nice bow. And then we also give our franchisees huge amounts of support, especially in the first year. We have weekly either round tables or meetings one-on-one with your franchise, the person that you're working with, the franchise, and then we also have extra training as you go along as well, and anything else that you need to talk about.
Brilliant. Sounds very comprehensive. And you are a new franchisor, but what's it like being a franchisor, comparing that to running your business like you have done for previously?
It's definitely a learning curve. I think because we have employees in our consulting firm, I think trying to have that line between we've been employing people and trying to be mindful that actually the people that that our franchisees have their own business and they have their own ideas as well. And so I think it's it's been a learning curve, but we really enjoy doing it. And the whole ethos of what we want our culture to be is really supportive. So the girls who came on board, first of all, they get on really well, they talk to each other all the time, they meet up quite often, they've even done reels together for social media. So what we want our franchise to be is a really supportive, inclusive culture, but for everybody. But I think that's probably been the biggest learning point for us, is the biggest tricky situation is how to manage the franchisees and allowing them, this is my fourth baby, so allowing them to run their own business.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting relationship, and like human life, it changes from that baby phase to the toddler phase to the teenager phase to the adult phase, and you will find these challenges as you go through your franchising journey. So good luck in the teenager. Sorry.
I was like, where's the easy stage?
It's funny because as parents you do think like, oh, it'll get easier, but actually we all now know there's different challenges at different points, isn't it? So but yeah, it's an interesting industry to be in. So you're a BFA member,
We are, yeah.
And why did you decide to become a BFA member?
We felt it was really important to be accredited to make sure that we've done things properly, and obviously that's another reason that we went with Ashton's, because they are, you know, recognised by the BFA, and so we wanted to make sure that we did everything correctly, and having the recognition, and you know, for you know, potential franchisees, for them to recognise that actually what we're offering is the highest quality franchise that we possibly can. That's really important to us as well. So that, you know, that, and then the support from the BFA as well. You know, we met with James last week from the BFA, who was kind of talking us through the support that actually we didn't realise that, you know, how much support there was out there for us. So for those two reasons, we thought it was really important to, you know, be members of the BFA.
Yeah, I think it's important to use the support that is out there and get involved as much as you can. Have you considered EWIF as well, encouraging women into franchising?
We have actually, yeah, that was something that we've just been talking about, that we've done a little section for them as well, and that's going to be our next membership. Yeah,
brilliant. Okay, good. Sounds like you've got things under control. And looking at your website, you've got lots of press logos on your website. So tell me a little bit about what those are for.
So we like to, we want to position ourselves as the experts in the area. So, you know, we have won awards. We've been on, you know, local radio. In fact, our franchisees have also been on local radio, you know, talking about the clock change. We've had, you know, we've been featured in the Telegraph and the Times, and I've also been on regional news talking about older children's sleep and how important that is. So, you know, we also, I'm an expert speaker on expert-led antenatal classes that have been set up by doctors. There was a sleep show a couple of years ago. I was one of their expert speakers there. Mamas and papas, when they used to run events, I would generally go there, be a speaker, and also mother care, as was, sadly, I was, you know, an expert speaker there as well. So we kind of like to, you know, obviously, you know, we need to make money, but also we want to kind of, you know, go out there and help people and give them a little bit of information that might help them with their sleep longer term. Yeah,
well, that's brilliant, because a potential franchisee can see that you've got the gravitas and the experience and the status, so to speak, in the industry, haven't you? So gives them confidence coming into it. What's been your biggest error so far in the franchise? If you've made one.
The biggest error, I suppose it's not an error, it's just that kind of managing the relationship with the franchisees and not necessarily, and, you know, kind of trying to not treat them too much like employees, because that's kind of been what we've been used to. So I don't know that it's an error, but that's kind of been like a learning point, is that they need much more freedom than they want, I guess.
Yeah, okay, brilliant. And my final question, what does the future look like? If we were to talk in 3 years' time, where do you hope to be?
A beach in the Maldives, maybe. No, we'd love to, you know, I kind of think we would like, you know, 5 to 6 franchisees this year, perhaps, you know, a few more, a similar number next year. So in 3 years' time, you know, we'd like to think that we were well established with perhaps 15, 20 franchisees. And, you know, Faye and I still do this work with other families as well. We work with sleep, so we don't want to stop that. But, you know, we're both looking forward to moving more into the franchise and supporting other people to run their own companies and to, you know, help families get a much better night's sleep.
Excellent. And I lied about my final question. My final question, if people are looking for information, where do they need to come to?
They can come to our website, which is littledreamsconsulting.com. There's a little section on our website about franchising, or you can email us, franchising@littledreamsconsulting.com, and ask for a lot more information, and you can come to one of our discovery Zooms.
Brilliant. Okay, well, thank you very much for your time, Jenna. It's been really informative, and wish you every success in the future.
Thank you very much. Lovely to see you, Phil.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.